All right, moments ago, Wikileaks releasing a brand new batch of Hillary Clinton emails.
It comes after yet another embarrassing round for Clinton's inner circle, exposing favoritism for foundation donors and a manipulation of the media.
Fox News chief national correspondent Ed Henry, live in D.C., taking a look at all this stuff. Ed?
Guys, this is about round 20. There's some hot ones in here, hot in the sense that these are big stories that need to be covered. And one referring to a CNN poll back in July of 2015, after the email scandal had exploded, and Neera Tanden, who's popped up a lot, liberal activist close to John Podesta, and by the way, co-chair of Hillary Clinton's transition to power. So she is close to, very close to Hillary Clinton. If she becomes president, going to be a big part of any new administration if that happens. She says to Podesta after a CNN poll that apparently suggested Hillary Clinton was not honest and trustworthy, quote, "Do we actually know who told Hillary she could use a private email? And has that person been drawn and quartered like whole thing is bleeping insane?" That's not really holding anything back. Another one that we have literally just gotten in the last moment about the DNC, and it says, Cheryl Mills, "I will definitely have a conversation with her once Seamus," he's the political director at the White House, "gets DWS, Debbie Wasserman Schultz, and Amy, her chief of staff, aligned. I also want to get her helping on Iowa planning next week." What is significant about this? December 29th. 2014. Hillary Clinton has not announced for president yet. She does that in spring of 2015. Cheryl Mills, one of her top advisors, is telling Robbie Mook, who becomes the campaign manager, "We're getting David Seamus, the political director at the White House, Debbie Wasserman Schultz, the chairwoman at the Democratic National Committee, aligned with us. We're planning for Iowa." Guys, people are not paying attention to this. This is happening before Hillary Clinton has even gotten into the race and before Bernie Sanders has gotten in, and there's been all this pushback over the previous leaks. Oh, the DNC did not rig anything. This is December of 2014. It certainly looks like they rigged it.
From the beginning. And Ed, the first one you had, the new jackpot, that apparently people inside the campaign were saying, now who exactly said it was okay for her to set up that private email server? People have tried to ask her. In fact, I think you have tried to ask her that on the trail. And what does she say? She just changes the subject.
Well, they have, right. And Brian Pagliano was obviously an IT specialist. He's taken the fifth. So we don't know if he was the one who set it up or whether he was directed by others, obviously. I'll give you another quick one, which is, I think what you're talking about there with, who set this up, they should be drawn and quartered. That shows frustration in Hillary Clinton's camp. Summer of 2015, that this was a big story. They were telling us this is blown out of proportion. It's not. Philippe Reines, another email in March of 2015 when this story broke, quote, "There is just no good answer. We need to gut through the process phase, get them all out there, and let the content do the talking." So look,
Ed,
that's a whole other thing that in private, they were saying the opposite of what they said in public.
Ed, you were on the trail, so this must be really hitting home for you because you were saying it was a good story. No one else in the media around you seemed to even be on top of it. Just refresh my memory or our memory on when it was exposed that she had this private server and Trey Gowdy offered the subpoena. So this is 2014. When was it exposed?
The timeline is fascinating. About March 1st, 2nd of 2015, the New York Times breaks the story that she had a private email account. About 2 days later, the Associated Press reports she also had a private server in her home. That's, I believe, March 4th, 2015. What happens that day? Trey Gowdy, Republican chair of the Benghazi Committee, subpoenas, hey, hold all those emails. Don't destroy anything. What else did we find from WikiLeaks? Same day as the subpoena, March 4th, 2015, John Podesta writes to Cheryl Mills, "Should we hold back emails between Clinton and President Obama?" Then President Obama does that interview and says, "I learned about this from the news." Cheryl Mills, March 7th, a couple days later, she says, "Oh my gosh, we've got a cleanup in aisle 7. We've got to deal with this. The president just said he didn't know about it when maybe he did." And then March 10th, she has the news conference, Hillary Clinton, and basically says, there was no classified information on the server, and this was just convenience. A lot of that just turned out to not be true.
It's every day we're getting new emails. What is the one takeaway that folks at home can take away from what we learned today?
Well, I think from what we learned today, I'm telling you, we should dig in more to the one I just said for a minute, which is Cheryl Mills in December of 2014, beyond the email stuff we talked about, which is important, but Cheryl Mills saying, how do we, we're getting Debbie Wasserman Schultz aligned. We're planning. We're planning Iowa caucuses. The DNC swore up and down that the process was not rigged. Why the Bernie Sanders supporters are not saying that they are frustrated about this? They are basically saying nothing right now. Bernie Sanders won't comment.
Well,
fascinating.
Ed, remember, Bernie Sanders kept saying, I want Debbie Wasserman Schultz fired. And a lot of us were saying, well, what's your problem there? Can you imagine if Reince Priebus was in cahoots with Jeb Bush or Marco Rubio?
Perfect example.
That would be unbelievable.
Exactly. People would be jumping up and down saying they rigged this. They rigged this for Bush, or they rigged this for Marco Rubio, or it turns out that Donald Trump wasn't an outsider. He and Reince Priebus were rigging this the whole time. This is fascinating stuff, and we've never in a presidential campaign gotten the deliberations in real time.
Sure, and will she continue to say, well, the Russians hacked it, I'm not going to talk about this? They won't be able to say that any longer.
Sure. I mean, in fairness, that's part of the story. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. But do you think the New York Times, if they had gotten hacked emails from Donald Trump, that they would not be publishing them saying, I mean, Chris Wallace really nailed this on Sunday when he asked Robbie Mook, the Clinton campaign manager, you guys ran with the Donald Trump tax returns, that in the story, you even said the New York Times and the Clinton campaign said they weren't sure these were real, but they went with it. And Donald Trump didn't turn them over. They were stolen or taken.
Yeah. There's so many double standards.
That's called reporting.
Imagine if Reince Priebus gave debate questions to Donald Trump.
Ed, thank you very much. I wonder if now that this has been revealed, if Bernie Sanders, if he had the chance to do over, would say, nobody cares about your damn emails. I think he would change that. Just one other thing regarding all the emails we've seen so far, and this is the 20th batch of them. Have you noticed how we haven't seen any emails from Hillary Clinton? You know, they're from people around her. Do you think there's a possibility next week, in the final days of the campaign, boom, here come hers?
Steve, that's a great point. You know what else we don't see? That whole time period around Libya when she was holding the BlackBerry in her hand.
Which makes me think that this could be the ultimate November surprise from WikiLeaks.
If you're Donald Trump, you got to keep your hands on the wheel, 10 and 2, and see what happens.
All right.
I think he actually has a chauffeur.
Thank you so much, Ed, for that report.